Great. This has come out tonight, so let us discuss this now because the NHL and the NHLPA are trying to figure out exactly how they're going to do this. I reported earlier that they're looking at a 60-game schedule, right? And the more games you play, the more money the league could potentially lose without fans in attendance. And there's talk about maybe some cities you'd have limited attendance, this kind of thing, right? So it's also come out that the owners are asking the players, remember that 10% deferral? We're going to have to ask for another 13% deferral. So we got the new collective bargaining agreement. Everybody went, cool, great, we've got labor peace. And everybody was happy. But the owners are looking at the current situation around North America and they're saying, hey, we are going to lose a lot more money here. So let me make something clear. Deferred money doesn't mean that the owners are saying you don't get it. The 10% that was going to be deferred this year, the players still get. The matter is whether it's in 2022 or 2023. They still get it, just not now. So just picture your boss tells you, hey, so we're going to take 10% of your money away, but we're going to give it to you in a few years. And then they call you in an office and go, know that 10% you already agreed to give us? We need another 13%. Now, I've already seen all the comments online. The league's Mickey Mouse, and this is greed, and it's pure greed. I think it's owners looking at a situation financially and saying, we are going to get killed this season. So the TV deals are the big money makers still out there, not including, of course, tickets, which aren't a thing. Other than, those beautiful jerseys they trucked out yesterday, including the ugly ones. That's not a mistake. It's not a coincidence. I wouldn't be surprised if they go, hey, and here's the other reverse retros, and hey, here's the futuristic outros, and here's our Jetsons jerseys. Keep buying them. Come on, more money. And they need revenues right now. The league desperately needs revenues. $200 million is what they make every year from the NBC deal. The Rogers deal is up to around $400 million a year, just approximately $400 a year. It starts at $300 million, goes up to $500 million. I was looking for an exact number, but it's fine. We'll just say $400 million approximately. So that's approximately $600 million the league makes by having a schedule this year. The problem is, if you look at the billions that this league has made, it's trended in the right direction. So, using stats I found online, the league made $2.93 billion in 2009-2010. It went up to 3.09, went up to 3.37. Then we had a lockout shortened season, and that's key. $2.63 billion made that year, but it was a lockout shortened season. 3.7, 4.86. So from 2013-2014 till 2017-2018, a 4-year difference. The league makes an extra $1 billion. You want to have somebody explain to you why Gary Bettman still has a job? There's $1 billion reasons right there. 2018-2019, it went up to $5.09 billion. And this past year that we had paused and then it was finally completed, they were supposed to make more than that. They were on pace for 5.2, 5.3 billion. That's why the salary cap was supposed to go up and everything was supposed to be great. And then pandemic hits and everything has been thrown into chaos. Now, I don't know how much money they make on local TV. It's not going to be $200 million. It's not going to be $400 million. The Fox Sports deal is not going to be in that same range. I'm sure it adds millions, and I'm sure that's money that they're out. But for owners right now, you have to kind of go to them and say, all right, by playing this year, you're going to make money. Insert way to make money here. And again, we as fans will buy whatever merchandise is being sold as long as we have the ability to do that we're still fluid with our cash. Now, the cap is set at $81.5 million. That's the flat cap, right? 31 teams, it adds up to $2.52 billion, but we know teams aren't spending right to the cap all over. So let's say $2.5 billion in salaries. We'll just round it down a little bit. Now, if you take off 23% for your deferral, that's $1.9 billion for the players. 20% escrow off of that is another $500 million. So, altogether, without the escrows and deferrals, the players are making $1.54 billion approximately. And so, and again, that's because I was figuring out it's 61.6% of their pay that they'd be getting. We're not including your taxes and whatever else is being withheld on their money. Just at the end of the day, they would get 1.54 billion. And that's still a lot of money. But think about it this way. Let's say 1.54 billion is how much the players are making. That's not including the facilities. That's not including the money to make sure that the lights are kept on, and your Zambonis out there cleaning the ice, and your refrigeration costs for the building to make sure that ice is cold. All of the other things that owners pay for. And they're not making money on their parking spots around the building because they don't, and they don't make money on concessions because there aren't fans in attendance. 1.54 billion, and again, that's just an outline, and 600 million that I'm thinking of that's coming in, plus whatever local TV deal, plus whatever we spend on merchandise. They're still going to lose money, but they lose less. And the 23% deferral means that money comes later. It is hard to sell players on the money coming later. It is a tough sell. And the other option is this, that the owners go to the players and go, okay, you're going to play 48 games this year rather than 82. We'll subtract the percentage for the games that you don't play. And when the NHL players signed this agreement, it was with the idea that they believed that whether they played one game or they played 82, their pay was not going to be affected. If they take the deferral, it's better for them, because otherwise we may be in a situation where the season really is in jeopardy. So they're talking this out. This is just the proposal that's out there. It's not official. The owners have not officially proposed this. They're just looking at their money. They're looking at the financial situation. I only have parts on here because here's the thing. The NHL, at least as a public-facing company, I don't see a whole lot of discussion of how much money they make on all their merchandise. I don't see a lot of money for how much they make on everything. They just basically give you, here's how much the league made. Here's how much our TV deals are worth. And then you kind of got to fill in the rest. I've seen it said, too, that 38% of league revenue is from gate. So 38% of $5.09 billion is going to run you well over $2 billion. So they lose over $2 billion in income, meaning for the players, they would have to give up $1 billion in income because it's a 50-50 proposition. Now, what owners are going to say is, they're going to say, hey, look, I'm taking the hit financially. This is supposed to be a partnership. Why aren't the players taking the hit as well? And I can see both sides of this. I can understand players saying, hey, you guys signed this agreement in what, June, July? And now you want to change it? And I can see owners saying, well, we signed it, but we didn't realize just how bad things would be in November when we were trying to figure this out. You can maybe sell players on the idea that this is just for the 1 year, that you're trying to get back to normalcy in 2021, 2022, and that's important. You've got the likely Olympics in 2022, unless those get delayed somehow. And it's a conversation that we had in this house last night, which was, the idea that every country in the world is going to be able to participate in an Olympics this summer. That might be kind of dreaming. And if let's say 20, 30 countries aren't able to send athletes there, do you have an Olympics or do you push it back? And then for the Winter Games in 2022, how does that get affected? There's a whole bunch of stuff still going on. And so the NHL needs to figure out a way to make this work so they don't fall into irrelevancy, because then that NBC deal that they're trying to extend, and they're trying to get ESPN to come in and bid a little bit just to bid up NBC, is what the rumor's been. If they can't get this deal to work and they can't get a raise out of that, it's going to hit their bottom line worst. And it's going to be a longer period of time before the players can make more money. So you kind of have to sell players on the idea of taking less now, take that financial hit now, and then later on, whether it's 2 years, 3 years down the road, they can make way more money. This is why over the last 8 months, I've speculated that maybe a lot of the veteran, older players could very well opt for retirement, where they look at all this headache and they say, I'm better off just being home with my family. So I will begrudge nobody who does that. We'll see what happens. But it is going to be fascinating, because if the NHL comes out and says, well, we're not going to have a season, then they don't make this either. That $600 million, approximate $600 million is gone. They don't get paid that TV contract money for games that never happen. And remember, Rogers is already really soured on the deal. So while we talk about the American deal and how important that is, Rogers is really not getting their money's worth out of this deal. Rogers has taken a bath the whole way, and I agree that they overpaid some of their TV personalities. They definitely ran it poorly out of the gate, but yeah, they're still taking a bath on it. And at some point, I don't know how Rogers is going to keep doing this. There were a lot of cuts at Rogers over the last year, and there was the speculation that the TV deal with the National Hockey League was the problem. Now you don't have hockey right now. Rogers is likely hurting for ratings. It's likely hurting their bottom line because of ad rates. And if the NHL finds a way to come back, and you bring that up, that's one area where the All Canadian division helps in Canada, and the All American divisions would also help NBC. Their ratings would come up. If you can sell them on more Philadelphia Pittsburgh games, more Chicago Detroit games, they're going to go through the roof. And in Canada, you can go, hey, so Toronto and Montreal are going to play every week. Yes. So there's benefits to all of this, but they have to find a way to make it work. And that deferral, I think, is just the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to hear a lot about what's happening between the National Hockey League and the players. And we'll see whether or not it happens. I'll be here to report on whatever happens when it does. And I will try to find whatever figures I can to try to make sense of how much money the NHL would be losing by playing this season. It's not a matter of whether or not they lose money, it's how much. And how much of that risk has to be taken by players as well as owners. Because since the 2004-2005 lost season, it's supposed to be a partnership. And while the players take 50% of the revenues, I can understand the owners saying they should also assume 50% of the risk. But we'll see how they feel about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.